Whoa. That was quite a lot. Good grief, man. Gospel of Truth. The good old classic Valentinian fun. That's better. We are... Why is that like that? There we go. We are reading the Gnostic Gospel of Truth. Oh, good, cat. You can tell me... Oh, I can click a button. A wave to you, cat. A wave to you. You guys see how it looks vertical and then see how it looks horizontal. Because it says that it works both ways. But I can't see it. David. I made it. Happy Saturday, family. Love y'all, David. Love you, David. We, Winnie Bowers. I swear, the TikTok names are just wild. What does it mean? Wait, does that mean we're dating now? Me waving at you? Yes. Your name is Blue now, over there too. Does that mean we're dating? Oh, I could bring you in. I could bring you in to the TikTok. How fancy. TikTok is so fancy. Hey, Ghost. It's all coming back to me now. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well... The Father is beginning and end. If you bring me in, what's next? I move in. Yes, unfortunately, no one on YouTube can see what's happening right now. Oh well. Yes, though, to answer your question, yes. That's absolutely what it means. The Father is beginning and end. Paradise represents the ultimate state of perfection in the Father's mind, while the plants serve as symbolic representations of his reflections, manifestations. The way of words in some of this Gnostic stuff is very beautiful. It's very poetic. Each word spoken, double each. I swear, nobody proofreads a lot of this scholarly work. Each word is spoken by him is solely the product of his will, shown via the revelation of his speech. Within the depths of his consciousness, the message, who is the first manifestation, brought out their being, accompanied by an intelligence that communicates the unique message via a tranquil grace. All I heard was beautiful. This cognitive faculty was referred to as thought, since it included these utterances prior to their actualization. Therefore, the word came into being as the first manifestation, in alignment with the Father's will, and it is by his volition that the Father experiences tranquility and content. That's not right. That the Father experiences tranquility and contentment. I can't tell if I'm dumb or if this was just not proofread. It's probably a little bit of both. You have some thoughts to utter. Is this a public conversation? First, is this a private or a public conversation? The nature of his will is similar to his footprints, yet it remains elusive and impossible for human comprehension to achieve and possess. However, everything God intends happens exactly when he wants it to, even if humans do not approve of the result. Undoubtedly, that's a very Calvinistic view. Everything God intends happens exactly when he wants it to, even if humans do not approve of the results. That's a very, very reformed process of thought. and is actually kind of interesting coming from a text that is considered to be Gnostic. Undoubtedly, it is the Father's will. The Father has a comprehensive understanding of the beginning and the end of all things. Very interesting. All is good. Cat is still wild. As long as the cats are still wild, both feline cats and other cats, then life is still good. Upon the arrival of their conclusion, he shall be granted receipt of them. The climax represents the disclosure of the hidden one, both capitalized, namely the Father. From him, the source, all beings began, and to him all beings will ultimately return. The revelation took place with the purpose of exalting and bringing delight to his name. Oh my gosh, cat. Get out of TikTok now and go over to the other one. I don't know how to mesh them. I need to figure out a way. Oh, I could totally do it actually. I could just stack the two chats. Either way, it's a thing for another day, but I'll figure that out. The Son is the name and the revelation of the Father. The Son is the name and revelation of the Father. The Son is referred to as the Father. At the outset, he designated the individual who sprung from him. Although he himself remained unaltered, the individual saw the entity as a progeny and bestowed upon it the appellation that was inherently its own. The paternal figure who possessed everything that surrounds him. I'd like to look into... Actually, hold on. I'm very curious about... Should have done this before we started. Okay. So it looks like originally written in Greek, sometime between 140 and 180. Either by Valentinian himself, but more likely by a group of Valentinian Gnostics. So 140 to 180, I guess, makes a lot more sense. It's just so dramatically different than a lot of the stuff we read. I'm sorry, but to be clear, this is saying that humans have no free will, correct? Kind of. Kind of. If you were to just pull that one thing and make a doctrine out of it, then yeah. But that is not at all the general belief from my understanding of Valentinian Gnostics. So there should be clarity coming. And some of the other stuff in this text, so this is a collection of Gnostic texts. And I believe there's something like 15. I could be overplaying it a bit, but there's a handful. There's quite a few in this one volume. And if you aggregate the Valentinian view, it's not a predestined view. Keeping in mind, too, what they believe about Yahweh and what they believe about Jesus Christ are very dramatically different than the Jews or the Christians. Go said, we have free will within constraints. The never-ending argument of perspective. But yeah, like any sport. That's a good example, yeah. You have free will within the constraints of the sport. Within the constraints of the rules. Oh, Matt. Somebody with a normal name. That's nice. Don't see that on TikTok often. Oh, Liza, too. It's normal people TikTok night, apparently. The Son is referred to as a father. Okay. The individual saw the entity as a pro. We read that. Where did I leave off? He bears the name. He has the Son. The Son is visible, but the name is invisible. The mystery of the unseen is about to be completely understood by those who are receptive to it by the Father's intentions. By the Father's intervention. Moreover, the Father's name is not spoken, but rather revealed by the Son. So you're getting a very brief, interesting view of how they see. I believe they're on the same track as some of the other Gnostics with monad would be the Father, not Yahweh. Moreover, the Father's name is not spoken, but rather revealed by the Son. And a lot of the Gnostics still have the Jesus aspect, but a lot of them don't too. A lot of them are not fans of Jesus. And there's a really interesting rabbit hole with all of this, where John the Baptist plays a much deeper role than he appears to play in the Gospels. But that's a whole other thing. And I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. Interesting. The Father's identity is revealed by the Son. Right. It's interesting because that parallels, in a sense, the Christian perspective. I think one of the interesting things is that the Gnostic perspective in this specific instance makes a lot of sense, because the Father is inherently good that has never done bad. That character has never done bad. Whereas from like the traditional Christian perspective, I think we have trouble with this, because Yahweh, from a Christian perspective, from a human perspective, does do bad. He did a lot of bad. From a human morality perspective, did a whole bunch of bad. So then when we try to rectify Jesus Christ and Yahweh, it's troublesome. When we try to rectify the Father and the morality that we are under, it's hard to make those things fit. I feel the Gnostics have a much easier time doing it because they believe all of this sprang from something evil, that the demiurge is an evil thing. So it makes a lot of sense that some of the things that happened were not positive things. David said, I like that ghost like any sport. Thank you for putting that cookie on the lower shelf, bro. I like that. That's great. But yeah, the example was really good. The sport analogy is very good for free will. You have free will to a point. I think a lot of people kind of view it like that. Andrew. Okay, so let me back it up. The mystery of the unseen is about to be completely understood by those who are receptive to it via the Father's intervention. Moreover, the Father's name is not spoken, but rather revealed by the Son. Therefore, the name is excellent. Who, therefore, has been capable of expressing a name for him, this magnificent name, except for him alone, to whom the name rightfully belongs, and the offspring of the name. They are the individuals in whom the Father's name finds solace, and who, reciprocally, discover tranquilly inside. I don't like how they're using this word tranquilly. It doesn't sit right with me. Discover tranquilly inside the name. Should it not be tranquility with a T? I'm going to have to look into this. It's bothering me, but I'm sure I'm wrong. The Father, who is without a commencement, exclusively devised it as a designation for himself from the very beginning, prior to his creation of the everlasting entities. Interesting. He commanded that his name should have ultimate authority over them, the genuine name, securely established by his power and absolute control. This name is neither sourced from dictionaries, nor is generated from conventional naming practices. It is not visible. The Father exclusively bestowed a name onto the Son, since he was the only one who recognized him, and with the ability to grant him a name. The Father exclusively bestowed a name onto the Son, since he was the only one who recognized him, and with the ability to grant him a name. Hey, Ruth. These things are translated by suspect characters. I completely agree. And it's even worse than you'd think, too. They get these grants, and all the money can't be going to these, because they always end up very poor. People are pocketing some of that grant money. An individual who lacks existence also lacks a name. How can a name be bestowed onto an individual who lacks existence? However, the one who is present also exists under their given name, and only they possess knowledge of it. Only the Father bestowed a name upon him. He is the Father, and his name is the Son. The name was not kept clandestinely, but rather it emerged and was disclosed by the Son himself. Therefore, the name corresponds to that of the Father, in the same manner that the Father's name corresponds to the loving Son. From whom else would the Son get a name, if not from the Father? One may question. Why would someone bestow a name upon an individual who predates their own existence? I think that's a valid question. Why would someone bestow a name upon an individual who predates their own existence? I'm going to ask my child this question and watch her brain explode. Children often acquire their names from one of their parents. Often. It is crucial for us to carefully consider this issue. What is the name? The authentic appellation derived from the Father, since he is the possessor of the name. He did not get the name by borrowing, like others who are given artificial names. This is the genuine appellation. He refrained from granting it to anybody else. The name remained undisclosed and unmentioned until the time when the perfect one himself, all capitalized, said it, and only he has the ability to pronounce his own name and understand its meaning. When the Father decided that his Son should be identified by his explicit name, and when the one who came from the depths disclosed this name, he revealed what was previously concealed. This insight happened because he was aware of the Father's absolute benevolence. For this same reason, the Father sent out this particular Son to talk about the kingdom and his place of rest from which he had originated. The aim of the Son was to exalt and showcase the entirety and grandeur of his name, as well as the pleasantness of the Father. What a bizarre deal. Good old tenacious. Ghost said names can also denote roles. So the role could have been established since eternity. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. Why did Cain get first position to Adam and Eve's firstborn daughter? Why say you, Tenacious? What say you to that question? The place of the blessed. Lovely. Each person will discuss their place of origin and eagerly strive to return to the world where their fundamental existence started. They will acquire the flavor of that location, get sustenance from it, and develop. Their own haven of rest is their plenty. All manifestations from the Father are complete, and they all stem from the one who caused them to come out from himself. He determined their fates. They manifested independently in order to refine their own ideas. This destination, to which they direct their thoughts, is their origin, which uplifts them over all stages to the Father. They arrive to his head, which serves as their place of repose, and they linger there as if they had made contact with his face via affectionate hugs. Bro, who translated this? My faith in this is dwindling. While they do not expressly state so, they neither elevate nor decrease the magnificence of the Father. They do not see him as diminutive, resentful, or wrathful, but rather as entirely virtuous, undisturbed, and delightful. He has knowledge of all spaces prior to their inception, and he does not need any guidance. These humans get a sight of the immense majesty from above. They endeavor to attain the singular and flawless being who is present there for them. They neither go down to the underworld, nor do they possess feelings of jealousy or lamentation. They are devoid of mortality. Instead, they find solace in the one who is always at rest, free from fatigue or uncertainty about the truth. They embody the truth, and the Father is present inside them, just as they are present within the Father. They are flawless, indistinguishable from the really virtuous one. They own everything. As they are bestowed with tranquility, it's going to drive me insane. Tranquility, and revitalized by the essence. They attentively heed their fundamental principles, actively involving themselves in pursuits that are in harmony with those principles. And as a result, their spirits remain unharmed. Here is the domain of the fortunate, here where they reside. Regarding others, inform them that their domain what? Inform them that in their domain, it is not appropriate for me to provide any more commentary after having personally seen the site of repose. I shall reside there, devoting myself to the Father of all and to the genuine companions, those who receive an abundance of the Father's love. They are in a position of complete plenty and need nothing of him. These folks really embody their existence in the genuine and everlasting life. The perfect light is sometimes described as containing the seed of the Father, residing inside his heart and encompassing the whole of his being. The individual soul finds great joy and praises the divine being in whom it dwells, as the Father is kind. The offspring are flawless and deserving of his name due to his role as the Father. These are the kind of youngsters that he adores. I am just getting more and more questions about the actual text itself. So I would like to see something very quickly. So the gospel of truth. Let's check on a few things here. So believed to be written mid-2nd century. So 140 to 180 makes sense. Discovered as part of the Nag Hammadi library in 1945. Traditionally attributed to Valentinian, Gnostic teacher, though highly debated, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Who translated this, though? That's what I am curious about. The original text was written in Coptic, but translated from an earlier Greek version. Okay. James Robinson did one. And then a few others. God. Okay. They're in a position to keep blah, 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 blah. The perfect light is sometimes described as containing the seed of the Father, residing inside his heart and encompassing the whole of his being. The individual soul finds great joy and praises the divine being in whom it dwells, as the Father is kind. The offspring are flawless and deserving of his name due to his role as the Father. These are the kind of youngsters that he adores. And then that's it. It's definitely a fragment. It's got to be a fragment. Yes. Oh, interesting. Okay, so in the Nag Hammadi discovery, the Nag Hammadi library, there were 2 codices. And one had a more complete version, and one was a fragmentary version that was missing sections. No part of me believes this is where it organically ended. So even the more complete version has got to be a fragment. The core message and theological themes were mostly preserved. Yeah, how do you know if you have nothing to check that to, though? Ghost said it sounds like the translator just used technically acceptable words, but the way the translation flows is comical. It's like reading English street signs in China. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it makes a lot more sense now because it was written in Coptic, which is complicated from what I understand as an ignorant person. Coptic, from what I understand, is an Egyptian language that incorporates certain letters in Greek, which makes it, from what I have heard and listened to, it makes it more complicated to translate, which makes perfect sense to me. So I suppose a little bit of grace, because the pool of people who can translate Coptic is a small pool of people. So I suppose it makes sense. I guess I want to see then what to read next. So within this collection, we have quite a bit. The Gospel of Judas, I think, would be a great one. So maybe that. That's a classic goodie. I wonder, does this collection also have the Gospel of Mary? Very interesting. Gospel of Peter, Jesus and Judas. Okay, so basically the Gospel of Judas and everything within, it's a rather large one. The Gospel of Peter, Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Philip, Gospel of the Egyptians, Sophia of Jesus Christ, Pistis Sophia, and then there were a few more. The second book of Pistis Sophia, then third book, fourth book, fifth book, sixth book, the Apocalypse of Peter. This is one I was mentioning the other day to you, Ghost, if you're still here. The Apocalypse of Peter. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I know it related. It'll come to me later when it is no longer relevant. But that's a good one too. The Apocalypse of Peter is really interesting. That's right. You said you had read it, but it had been a long time. I think Judas next. The Apocrypha of John is good too, though. Second Treatise of the Great Seth. That'd be good. I think Judas. I think Judas is the one for next Saturday. Classic. I can't remember what we were talking about either. Yeah, I don't, but it was pertinent. I think we'll read all of them. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. This is all, my whole thing with Saturday specifically was like, these are things I always wish I had time to read. And I can't seem to muster up the ability to pull away from other things that we're doing to actually spend the time reading them. So doing it like this is a great way to force me and make me feel obligated to read, because there are things I genuinely want to read again. Like the Gospel of Judas is one. The Gospel of Thomas is another one that I genuinely want to read again. And I just can't push myself to do it because of other life responsibilities and whatnot. But this is a great way to force me to do it because I feel responsible. So that's kind of my goal. It's been very helpful for me personally. So I think maybe Judas. Now Judas is kind of long, so that'll take weeks, and then maybe Thomas, because Thomas is short, or maybe Thomas first because Thomas is short. Thomas is pretty short because it's just it's 114, I think, sayings of Jesus. I believe it's 114. Yeah, it's 114. So maybe we do that next real quick and just knock it out. But that's a real interesting one that I would definitely like to read. Oh, there's Cat. Okay, we'll probably just bail here soon unless anybody wants to talk about anything. But since I didn't do this before, we have, if you're watching this later, the recording, we have a Discord. There's a link to the Discord in the live chat. There's a link to the Discord in the description of the video. Discord is free. It'll always be free. And it's just it's a bunch of great people is really what it is. The bottom line of it. But if you're into weird texts or tough topics, or are tired of not being able to talk about certain things within a Christian context, then it would be a fantastic place to be. The Outlet Bible Study YouTube is exactly what it sounds like. In and out of the canon, though. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're aware of that. And then Tuesday is a topic discussion on a different YouTube channel, at Tattoo Theist. And where are we at with that? We do a poll every week, and it looks like the winner so far is reincarnation, with What is Hell as a close, well, not really close, as the runner-up, though. So maybe this coming Tuesday we do reincarnation, and then perhaps the following Tuesday, What is Hell? Because it sure did seem like people wanted to talk about that. Maybe that will be the tentative plan. I think that'd be good. Body piercing depot. Very, very interesting. TikTok will never make sense to me. Good God. All right, we are probably going to just wrap it because I can't read anymore, and I don't want to start something new. Obviously, goes that I think they're related topics, so it's a win-win. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Yeah, so we'll do reincarnation Tuesday, and then we'll do what is hell after that. I'm licensed to pierce. I was licensed to tattoo and pierce. I no longer am, though. I no longer live in the state, nor have I done anything in a very long time. But I was as well, my friend. Listening to you read really blesses all of us. David, you're so sweet. You're over the top sweet. I appreciate you. And you're always on the comments after the video ends. And I appreciate you for that too, because that helps us. That's a big help so that we find even cooler, nicer people, which is a very difficult thing to do. But you are a big reason of why we do get wanderers in here like good old Esmil, who's been fantastic and very interesting. Yeah, how about we talk about your piercing days and how you denied me a septum piercing the first second we met? Well, girl, we don't need to get into all that. We don't need to. Have I pierced you? No, but I've tattooed you. You're the man, David. You are the man. 100%. All right, I'm gonna wrap this. If you watch this later, join Discord. At Live Bible Study for all this type of stuff. We're gonna read the Gospel of Thomas next because it's short, and then after that we'll read the Gospel of Judas because it's very, very interesting, but it is longer. And then we'll probably just keep working through some Gnostic stuff on Saturday because it's interesting. Sunday is the canon. We're in the Book of Job right now. Tuesday is at Tattoo Theist, and we're doing reincarnation this week. And then next Thursday is on this YouTube channel again doing the, what are we reading? The Book of Giants. The Book of Giants. The Book of Giants. All right. I love you guys. Have a fantastic evening.